So the philosophy of homeopathic science. So here in this class we have the very senior most students. I can say that almost Maya and Lilian, persons like them, already they can teach also the subject, I think. Not only the students. And also we have the doctors here. But yet we can be students still to learn, because I am also a student still. Including myself, we are all students, as I feel. So let us make the study of this science of healing. So whether it is homeopathy or Ayurveda or allopathy, and whatever it may be, the branches, but the very purpose is to heal. That is the purpose. Because there are, just like a tree has many branches, the science of healing has many branches. And if anybody feels that a particular branch of the tree is different from another branch, then they are lost, because ultimately these branches are the branches of the same tree. So that is why the science of healing. Healing is a science, and the application of the science is an art. When applied, it is an art. So that is the relationship between science and art. So the art of applying the science of homeopathy. And gradually we will see that all the subjects what we are studying are interconnected, interrelated. For example, the Vedic symbolism or spiritual astrology or homeopathy, because all these subjects they are connected to our inner self or the soul. So what is very important for any living being, especially when we think of human beings, is health. Because if you may have so many things, but if you have no health, so it is not a happy experience. So health is not an item, but it is an experience and an attitude. Health is a state of positive attitude in our living. And what is disease then? It is just a change of the attitude from positive. So it is a disturbed state of what you call health. Health is the normal state where your experience is very harmonious and happy, and when it is disturbed, it is a different expression. And this different expression is what you call disease. And according to this science, disease is not located at any particular part of the physical body, but the manifestation or the result of the disease is experienced at any tissue, at any part of the body at a later stage. So health and disease are two different expressions of the same consciousness. Just like how when you are in a good mood, in a happy mood, you will be smiling and chirping, smiling and like this, the same person. And otherwise, when you are depressed, then a different mood, weeping and going down. So it's the same person. It's not a different person, but appears to be a different person. The same person, when you are joyful and dancing, you appear a different attitude and different person. And the same person, and other times, when you are not feeling well, then you appear to be a different person, but it is not really different. So here also, what you call health and what you call disease are two different expressions of the same consciousness. So then what is healing actually is to change this expression which is not natural. The natural expression is health. So the expression which is not natural to us, our consciousness, which is an expression which is caused by a disturbance. So regaining or bringing back the original expression, natural expression, that is the process of healing. So that is the aim of the very purpose. So you may apply whatever means you want to apply, but this should be the purpose or the aim, to bring to normal or natural expression of life. So that is the basic aspect, the basic principle. So that is why in homeopathic science, the basic understanding of the homeopathic science is that health and disease, they are two different phases of your vital force. So when your vital force is in perfect normal functioning, then it is experienced as health. When the vital force is disturbed from its normal functioning, then it makes a different expression which you experience as pain and suffering. That is the very basic concept, basic understanding of this science. So what you call as susceptibility. What is the cause of susceptibility? Why you are susceptible to the external influences? This susceptibility, what you call susceptibility, is the unnatural expression of the vital force. When your vital force is not in its original and natural functioning, then it is what is called the diseased condition, and that makes your constitution susceptible to all the external influences. So the defense mechanism of your constitution is damaged when your constitution is susceptible. So what is the process of what you have to do is to try how you can change this direction or this phase of your vital force from this susceptibility, and how can you make it resistant against all the other influences, and how. So that is what is called healing or cure. So according to the science of homeopathy, cure is a total process. It is not just to eliminate some pain or some suffering on the physical level. In fact, what you call pain is not at all physical. Any pain you may feel, you may say I have pain in my stomach, but it is not physical, but it is something indicating that something is wrong. Some manifestation, a wrong manifestation is happening in that part, but who is undergoing, which part is undergoing the pain, the suffering? It is not located here, but it is felt by your mind. Pain is a feeling. Because your mind, what we call mind, is not a localized principle. Your mind, everywhere, because mind is not localized in our brain or something in the head, but we know that mind is not a physical entity. It is a different plane than your body. So the physical tissues or physical body is one plane of existence, which you call the physical body. So it is only one plane of existence. So what you see as a physical body or a physical tissue is the ultimate or the end part of it, but it is just like the block of ice. For example, if you take the block of ice and water, and so the block of ice is only a solidified form of the water itself. So in the same manner, the physical body or physical tissues, it is only a physical plane of, or a material plane of the same consciousness. So what you feel as a blockage or as a pain, what you undergo, is only an indication, and that indication is, it is just like your indicator bulbs, in your instruments you have indicators. When you are driving your car, you have several indicators. Suppose the fuel in the car is getting exhausted, then an indicator blinks to indicate you what is happening inside. So that doesn't mean that the problem is in the indicator. Huh? If somebody thinks that this light which is blinking is making problem because it is disturbing you while you are driving, so if you break the indicator, what happens? Then you don't know what is happening in you, what is happening in the car. The fuel gets exhausted. Your car stops in the middle of your journey. So how to deal with this when you see this indicator that the fuel is getting exhausted? You go and fill the fuel, that indicator stops. That is the right way of dealing with this. So you have to take the indicator, you have to take the indication, but the solution is not directly to deal with the indicator. That is how you have to understand this problem. That is why in this science it is explained that disease never exists in any part of the physical tissue. So our whole understanding is, it should be about this vital force. Because all the functions are made responsible by the vital force and its proper functioning. When the vital force is in good condition, that means in health, then all the functions of our senses and all this, they are in normal manner. So the vital force has it acts according to certain law. There are certain law of nature. The laws are governed by nature. So what happens in our body is governed by the law of nature, not by our just our fancies or our fantasies. Everything is governed by the law of nature. So when we have to understand what is the law of nature. So the vital force is responsible for all to maintain the equilibrium of the health, because what we know as health is a state of perfect equilibrium of the various forces that are working. Our physical body, what we think generally is that the physical body is some entity by itself. Now, we have to realize that the physical body is a resultant of all these forces working in equilibrium. Just like, for example, when you make a tent, so what we call the tent is yes, the material you use, but the material is not tent, because before you made the tent, you call it as a cloth and ropes, some strings, but when you arrange this in a particular manner by pulling it in different directions, then you have a shape, and then you call it tent. Isn't it? When the tent is not erected, do you call it a tent? It is only some type of cloth and some ropes and some nails and all this. And it's only some substance, some material, but not the tent. So the tent is only when you arrange and pull in certain directions. So it is the lines of forces that are acting along this pulling the ropes that makes the shape of the tent. So in the same manner, our physical body is like the tent. So the structure, what we call the morphology and the anatomy and all this, all the physical aspect of this body, it is all depending upon how the lines of forces are arranged at that vital level, not on the physical. So everything what happens on our physical body is the result, it follows what happens on the vital plane. So we have a vital body. We have a physical body on the physical plane. We have a vital body on the vital plane. And then we have a mental body on the mental plane. Because the mind is still higher plane. So the vital body is like the lines of forces. And these lines of forces, these lines are the manifestations of our inner consciousness. So our mind is still higher to the vital force. Higher means a higher plane of consciousness. And then this functioning of the mind is governed by a still higher plane in us. That is what is called the plane of intelligence. And this plane of intelligence is constituted, or it works with the two poles. One is the receiving pole and one is the transmitting pole. The receiving pole, what you call as understanding, and the transmitting pole, which we call the will and understanding. And still higher to this, what is still higher to this? From all these, what you get is the experience. So the plane of experience is the highest form of your consciousness. So this is how our constitution is arranged. So what we call the constitution is an arrangement in all these planes of consciousness. So we see only our physical body, but the physical body is, as I told you, is only the resultant of these forces which are there arranged on the vital level, vital plane of consciousness. So to understand the disease, unless we understand this arrangement, we do not really know what is health and what is disease. So according to this science, as I told you, what we call disease is only a distorted phase of functioning of the same vital force. It is a distorted functioning of the same vital force that is manifested as a disease, and it is experienced to the experience plane. It is experienced as disharmonious. There is disharmony. We don't feel well. Without any investigation itself, a person who is not healthy, a person who is sick in its true sense, the person himself can feel. Because we know what is, and we call it disease. This word, in this word, is health, and dis-ease is ill health. When you feel at ease, that means you are in healthy condition. So when something is disturbed in this arrangement, then you are not at ease. So then it is dis-ease. So what you have to do to regain health is that you have to work where you have to do something. Your effort should be not just on the physical level, but you must try to reach, to understand at the level of vital force, vital and mental levels. Then you can find a solution. That is what you find the fundamental aspect of homeopathic science. So certain fundamental things. So to understand this science, there are certain fundamental aspects which we have to know. That what you observe as many types of sufferings or what you call diseases on the physical body, they are only manifestations of the same disease. That is what this science says. For example, a person is suffering from insomnia. So you consider that he has a disease of insomnia. And the same person is suffering from constipation. So you say he has also the disease of constipation. And the person is also suffering from digestive problem, the problem of the liver and all this. So this is another disease. So like this, when a person is having many different problems, so you are dealing them as a different diseases. So therefore you are trying to apply something for each disease. But homeopathic science says these are not different diseases, but these are different manifestations of the same disease. So when your vital force is distorted, it has taken a different manifestation of action. So therefore you have many different manifestations which are reflected or established as dysfunctions of various parts of your body in various functions of your body. But it is the same disease. So this is one of the fundamental aspects of. So therefore homeopathic science says that if you take all these as different diseases and if you try to treat the person for each and every disease with different medicines, you cannot bring a true and permanent solution to regain the original functioning. Because you must try to find where is the cause of disturbance. Because the cause of disturbance is not on the physical level. The disturbance is manifested on the physical tissue. This we have to clearly understand. A disturbance is manifested on the physical tissue, but the cause is not physical. This is where you have to clearly understand from this science. So unless you eliminate the cause, you cannot eliminate totally the manifestation. Because it is the relationship of cause and effect. So unless you Unless you know the cause, you cannot find a solution for the effect. The effect is the manifestation on the physical tissue, the physical body. And the cause is trans-physical, higher to the physical. It is at the level of vital and mentals. So unless you locate the cause and unless you eliminate the cause, you cannot do anything with the effect. A permanent solution, you cannot give a permanent solution. So cure means, according to homeopathic science, regaining the original state of functioning of the vital force. That is the real cure. If the mind and vital force are brought to normal functioning, then a person can be cured. So that is why the homeopathic science says that you should treat the person, not the disease. If you take disease into consideration and if you try to do something with the disease, then you are lost. So you must try to treat the person, then the disease will be under control. The person, we should not identify the person and the disease together. Person and his disease. If we identify this together, then we are confused. So we have to deal with the person and not with the disease directly. That is what you find in the homeopathic science. All our work, all our dealing is with the person and not directly with the disease. As we have seen in the example of the indicators, unless we deal with the person, all this, if you deal directly with the indicators, then there is no solution. So that is the very fundamental aspect of homeopathic science. So the disease, when you consider about disease, so the disease is a dysfunction, a wrong functioning of the mind and vital force. That is the real disease. So the real disease, you can locate the disease only at the level of vital force and mind. So you must try to eliminate the disturbance on the inner level of consciousness. That is what is required. That is what the homeopathic science says. So if you want to select a remedy, on what basis you have to select the remedy? If you select a remedy only for the disease, then it may make a temporary, it is not a permanent solution, it makes a temporary effect. For example, a person is suffering from constipation. So here constipation is not the disease. So if you just give a remedy or something to eliminate constipation, so then you have to keep doing this constantly the whole life, because you have not eliminated the cause. That is why homeopathic science says that treat the person, not the disease. If you want a temporary solution or a permanent solution, we have to decide. Sometimes temporary solution may be required. That is not wrong. Sometimes when it is very urgently you have to do something, a temporary solution is required, but not always. So we must make a discrimination. So if you depend only on the results or observations of the physical tissue, then you have not reached the cause. You cannot eliminate the cause, and therefore the whole life you have to keep medicating and medicating. So then also, according to homeopathic science, health, regaining or re-establishing the health or cure of disease is not done directly by the medicine. So medicine is not responsible. A substance which you use as a medicine is not responsible or not capable directly to re-establish health or to eliminate a disease. Because eliminating the disease means re-establishing the health. Eliminating the disease should not be understood as fighting with the disease. You cannot fight with the disease. If you try to fight with the disease, you are fighting with your own constitution. With whom you are fighting? Because disease you will find manifested in the constitution. So if you want to fight with the disease, you are fighting with your own constitution. So it is not a fight. Then what is the purpose of medicine then? So according to the science, the purpose of medicine is to give a proper direction to the vital force and to strengthen the vital force so that the vital force itself should make an effort and a function to come back to normal functioning. That is the purpose of medicine. So the purpose of medicine is not to try to fight with the disease or to drive out the disease. That is not the purpose. The only purpose should be, of the medicine should be to direct the vital force. Because what is it that cures a person is the vital force, but not the substance. It is the vital force itself which should come back to normal functioning. That is cure. Then it is in the beginning it appears to be difficult to accept or understand this. Because in the present medical science we find so many factors which are responsible to this disease. This is responsible for this disease, this is responsible for this disease, like this. So how can this be? Because it is shown that this particular substance or particular organism or something is different, is responsible. So if we use the medicine to eliminate this organism, then how can you say that the disease, the cure of the disease is, the purpose of the medicine is not for this purpose. If medicine is responsible, if a substance which you use as medicine, maybe homeopathy or maybe allopathy, maybe Ayurvedic, whatever it may be, if the medicine itself is directly responsible, which can eliminate the disease and which can give you health, then what should be the result? That by this time the whole of humanity should have become perfectly healthy, because we have so much of medicine. Yeah, we have so many substances, so much of medicine. It may be of any system, but we have medicine, we have so many varieties of medicines. So by this time the whole of all the human beings should have been completely healthy, because we use the medicine and eliminate the disease and be healthy. There should be no disease at all. For the human beings on this planet, there should be no disease at all, because since many centuries we have so many medicines, new medicines, chemical, natural, whatever it may be. So this itself is a proof that medicine is not directly capable or responsible to cure the person from a disease. It is the vital force itself, because it is only a change of the phase of the activity of vital force from a certain unnatural functioning into natural functioning. For this purpose you have to apply medicine. Medicine is only for that purpose, not directly to fight with the disease. That is what you understand from this science. So then how can you use a substance to deal with the vital force or with the mind? That is another problem. If, you have to use this substance not directly, but how can you take the physical substance, because substance is physical form, so how can you use the physical substance to deal with your vital force or with the mind? Then we have to also understand that not only our human constitution, but every substance has its physical, vital and its trans-physical layers of consciousness. Whether it is so-called living being or so-called non-living substance, you may call it, whether it is a chemical substance or whether it is a living substance like plant substance or animal substance, whatever it may be. But every substance has its physical form, and beyond this it has also the higher layers of consciousness, not only the physical. This we have to understand. Unless we understand this, we cannot really understand how we can use this medicinal substance to bring a change at the level of mind and vital force and mind and intelligence and all this. So for this purpose, there is a process of changing the substance from physical to the higher levels of consciousness, and that process is what is called the process of dynamization. It is called dynamization, or it is also called potentization. what is the mechanism of dynamization? So we take any substance on the physical in the physical form, and then it is subjected to a process by which it is transformed from the physical plane into its vital plane and finer planes of consciousness. The substance is also transformed from physical into vital. So when you apply the substance in vital level, then it can reach your inner layers of consciousness. That is the principle of dynamization. That means you are reducing the mass and you are increasing the force, because the mass and force are the different states which are interchangeable. So when you take a substance in the material plane, by applying this process you are changing this from physical plane into the finer layers. So from changing from mass to from physical to the force aspect, you are using it as a force. So the medicine should be applied in the form of a force. Then it can reach your consciousness, inner consciousness. Is it possible to change? Yes, it is possible, because it is quite according to the law of nature. What you find as a physical substance or the physical form is only the changed form or precipitated form of the force itself. As you have studied in the previous class, the spiritual astrology, you have the three principles. The same thing applies here also. If you have the three principles, which is the consciousness, which you call the sun principle, and then the force, which you call the moon principle, and matter, the earth principle. These three principles. So again here also, because it is the consciousness itself which manifests in the force and then matter. So what we know as matter is nothing but the manifestation of consciousness from higher levels to the lower levels of consciousness. Just like how the water is solidified to form the block of ice. When you take the block of ice, put in the water, even though they both are one, but the block of ice floats over the water. This is in different state, this is in different state, both are one and the same. The same manner, here also, we have our physical body, our vital force, our mind and all these. They are not different substances, but in different states. Different states of our existence. So every substance has these three states. How can you say this? How can you prove this? How can you prove that every substance, even the inanimate substance, also has these states? Just take a lump of sugar, a block of sugar. So, if I take a block of sugar and throw upon your face, it will injure you. It cannot be sweet. that this is sugar, I hit you with sugar, but it can't be sweet because this transaction is on physical level. It's a physical transaction. It has weight, it has its weight and volume and all this shape, weight, volume, all physical properties. But the same thing, if you touch with your tongue, you feel its sweetness. So it is not physical transaction. Because your tongue is not sweet by itself, sugar is not sweet to itself. But when you have the touch, a contact of your tongue and the sugar, you feel the sweetness. What is it? Can you prove the sweetness by any analysis of sugar in the chemical analysis of the sugar? Can you prove the sweetness? If you make a chemical analysis, you can find only what are the substances which constitute a molecule of sugar, a carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, all this, but they don't explain you what is sweetness. So it has physical properties, it has chemical properties, but what we call sweetness is still higher than this. It is on the level of consciousness. It is called the consciousness of sugar. So you felt the sweetness of the sugar only when you put this on the tongue. So that is a transaction on the higher level of consciousness. So we know all this, but we don't realize this. So therefore we must try to understand the known facts properly and connect them. These are all the known facts. So therefore it is now well proved to us that every substance has its conscious level of, its higher level of consciousness. So therefore the science says that when you have to apply a substance as a medicine, it should be transformed into the higher level of consciousness. Then only it can reach your inner level of consciousness. Then you can, first you have to know where the problem is, on which level. You can use the substance by dynamization. Then you can reach that level where the problem is and try to work out there. That is the fundamental aspect of the science of homeopathy. So now it is time for lunch break. So we will continue in tomorrow's class. So this afternoon we will study the Materia Medica also simultaneously. We begin with the Materia Medica. How to study the remedies, that also we will do this afternoon.
At what time?
Generally, I propose at 2:30, but if it is too short for you, then you can make it 3. It's your choice. What all of you think?
Faster. 2:30 or 3? What 2:30?
Just possible in 3. Possible in
3 p.m.?
2:30 or 3, you can choose.
So if you say it is 3 o'clock, it is 3 o'clock.
Someone is just okay.